This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hello, and welcome to Body Count, the podcast where we believe history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes, and a proud member of the Big Heads Podcast Network. We're here to show you don't hate history, you just, hate the way it was taught to you. Only rule when we choose a topic, someone or a lot of someone's died. We give you the series of events in a narrative fashion, and by the end, correlate said story with current events. I'm not PBS, Ken Burns, or Dan Carlin, so if you want that Hoover-esque, just the facts, ma'am, history podcast, we are not going to be for you, i.e. there will be analysis, opinions, and this is not a lecture. My opinions are my own. Know that today I'm holding the host verbally hostage, so direct your hate will still at her because we all know she's way smarter than me. So it said tragedy plus time equals comedy. No, we giggle, are going to giggle at some occasionally rough subject matter. We are not actively trying to offend anyone. You have been warned. Obviously, I am the co-host, Bethany Skelton, bringing you a backwards body count with the one, the only, the almighty, the magnificent, the spectacular host,
Jessica Manor, and that is exactly how I like to be read in. I would like to hire you to walk around and read me into rooms in such a manner. Like, I feel
Everybody
like
now.
find your knees, peasants. That's how I want to go into all rooms.
There is no line.
There is no line. I'm not feeling 100 this week, y'all. I've had a rough one. So send praise to Bethany for pulling this backwards body count literally out of thin air at the last moment. I'm very appreciative.
Well, hey, I do what I can, which is not a lot, and sorry if it's not up to the standard par of, well, I don't want to hear any, well, actually. I won't even give you an opportunity to give it, well, actually. So this is going to
I don't even have the energy for it today. I'm enjoying that rainy Virginia weather. I'm back in Virginia, so if there are recording issues, I don't know what to tell you. Welcome to the middle of nowhere, folks.
For real. Okay, so as always, a lot to get to today, but first, housekeeping. We are part of Big Heads Podcast Network, a great collection of podcasts. We are super excited, so please go and check them out on social media, everyone, at Big Heads Media on Twitter and bigheadsmedia.com. If you love the show, please go and give us those 5 stars on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can say really whatever the heck you want about us. It's not to make us feel good, although no one here is complaining.
No one's going to cry.
To us, but it does obviously help us out on the business end of things. So to that note, our Patreon is up and running. You can go out there and check us out and watch us actually record all this historical ridiculous, except for this episode. We decided today is just our beautiful voices. So that's, yeah, we're going to still take you through the annals of history, however you'd like to say it. So we do keep you updated via social media, so be sure to check us out and follow us there. We'll let you know where we are and who we are at the end of the show. So you have to ride this roller coaster of historical insanity with us to find out more of who we are.
You just got to get on the Batman Forever and enjoy that breakneck speed. I don't know what to tell you. Like, buckle up, Buttercup.
I did not understand any of that. That was so nerdy of you.
Well, you know, that's not the nerdiest thing I've ever said on this show, and it certainly will not be the least.
I absolutely agree. Okay, so I did something really, this episode I feel like is very kind of not something that we normally do, I guess, just because it's going to be kind of fun. Well, we always have fun, but I guess I just wanted to go a little further. So today will be, wait for it, death by toys. Dun, dun, dun.
I could not be more pumped about something, actually.
Yeah, I know.
This is everything I needed in my life right
Is
now.
it? Okay. I see. I wasn't sure if it came out the way that I wanted it to, but hey, I actually had quite a bit of fun in a weird way. However you want to explain saying to somebody, "Oh, I have lots of fun doing research on death and disaster and history." I don't know how to really say that to anybody but you. So
More or less
understanding
about
it. So
children's toys, but that's where we're at, and that's what we're
right.
doing.
And see, we've done earthquakes and floods and gas explosions and empires and
Empires and everything else. Now it's just going to be Mattel and Hasbro.
which those names are going to come up. So I now, maybe some of our listeners are probably kind of going, what in the world? What the heck have they been smoking? But I mean, it's
the
why
usual, by the way.
Yes.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
But why, the typical, why should we care about death by toys, blah, blah, blah. But of course, if there's anything I've learned, of course it matters. Okay. You and I are both parents, and God forbid we hand them something thinking, oh, it's just a fun toy. And boom, missing fingers, rashes, choking, bleeding out, or, death.
Yes.
We bought
That's
it
always fun. $49.99, that Polly Pocket, Queen Castle is deadly. Let's find out why.
And I tell you what, Polly Pocket is technically on our list and is on many lists actually. So, okay. So what happened was after doing some of the research, I did discover many toys that are fatal that I knew about, and some that I just didn't. Like it was like maybe I didn't even know that they existed, and there's a reason why I don't know that they exist.
There's a reason that got pulled after a little market research really quickly.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. So we're going to go through some of them. We're not going to go obviously through there's too many, but we're going to go through some of the ones that I found that were reoccurring. Okay.
Oh, so it's a greatest hits tour.
Yeah,
literally.
Well,
okay. So
this is going to be my opinion of the ones that like I wrote down. Oh gosh, I had like 40 or 50, and I started to just go, all right, what are the reoccurring ones? And I'm going to do some highlights. It's basically Bethany's highlight reel of death toys.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. I'm good with that. I love everything about that.
Yes. Okay, so the first on the list is going to be one of those that are just like everybody knows, everybody understands. In fact, somebody's already probably experienced a danger from it. Trampolines. Now,
yes.
okay, so we all know that these are backyard favorites. They're a great way for kids to burn off energy, or even adults to think, I can do that. But they do cause nearly 289,000 hospital visits for broken bones, and that is from 2002 to 2011. Now, that's quite a bit, and it's actually including more than 1 million ER visits overall. So this doesn't count broken bones. This counts as sprained ankles or concussions, or Bobby's head is front tooth is now in my upper lip. It's just, everybody knows. Okay. It's just one of those dangerous things. Even home insurance companies may not cover any trampoline related injuries, only cover them after proper safety measures, or even will drop a policy altogether if the holder owns one. Okay. But yet people still are getting them. I mean, hell, I even still want one.
There's a reason that was like an entire trope of the like a story of a Simpsons episode when The Simpsons first was on television, guys. That's like a first 10 seasons trope. Thermopyline, you've seen it. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had one. I definitely had one. Trampoline collapsed when I was a child. There were 4 or 5 middle schoolers, like 6th graders on it. We all had horrific injuries. So yes, I can attest that a trampoline's like the worst fucking idea that's ever been. Of course. But I love them.
For me, twisted ankles or falling a little bit kind of abruptly or getting kind of jolted where I feel like I get whiplash because my sister decided to jump when I told her not to, but I have actually pretty great memories. I got close to being thrown off. I've seen people get thrown off, buck wild, but I even myself thought about purchasing one for our backyard. And then I'm like, what am I doing? It's like a major death trap in my backyard.
Exactly.
Especially if you put more than one person on there at a time. Because
that has to be the rule, and kids are never going to listen to that rule. No shoes, one at a time.
Yeah. But
plus you always want to put the water sprinkler on it so it's extra slick so you can break your neck on it.
You don't want to jump it up and down and get hot and sweaty. Hello.
Duh.
But the crazy part is that in the last 7 years alone, I did pull this from the CBS News. They confirmed at least 6 people have died from injuries at trampoline parks. Okay, because we all know about trampoline parks. And that number could actually even be higher because many of those injured are forced into arbitration and sign confidentiality agreements.
Right, because now they just have you sign a deal when you go into them that like you can't say anything or sue me or get out of my face. Yeah,
it's at your risk because we all know and have seen or experienced that there's injuries from trampolines, but yet we are like, hey, a trampoline park. That's a great idea.
I want to defy gravity for a few seconds at a time at the cost of my life. I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's the best idea we've ever had.
As a society, we are so stupid. But yes.
I mean, hello, I still personally want one. I do. I do want one for myself, not anybody else. I want to be able to roll onto a trampoline and jump up and down.
Exactly. So, I want to go out there like that Community episode, and I know you haven't seen it, but I want to go out like the Community episode and just bounce for an hour, like, wow, this is the best 30 seconds of my life. Jeff, you've been up there for an hour. What?
What a perfect workout. Like, hello. I can work on my toe touch. I can work on my jumps and all kinds of things.
It's like jumping rope, but swimming style. Kind of like swimming is running and easy on your joints. This is like jumping rope, but easy on your joints. Exactly.
Thank you for thanks for being on the crazy train with me.
Oh, 100%. Like 110%. I'm there. I feel it. I'm with it.
Okay, so moving on. So the next one is that I've got on this list, and that is a repeat offender, is lawn darts. Did you ever play with lawn darts?
Of course I played with lawn darts. I think that if you're born maybe in the 90s, if you were born in the 90s, guys, you probably never experienced lawn darts because we were on to them by then. But if you were born in the great 80s like myself, or even the 70s, the 60s, guys, we know about the joy and the dangers of the lawn dart.
Like, I actually remember I remember at one point it got switched out But I remember owning, I don't know, maybe it's just in my figment of my imagination. My mom, who listens to this, probably like, no, I don't know. But I swear to God, I either went to somebody's house or we're somewhere we played lawn darts, and those things had this. I mean, originally, okay, if anybody doesn't know what it is, originally it's designed to, like, they're like, darts or whatever, but they're to pierce lawns in like a game kind of similar to horseshoes. And
Basically, it is a back and forth javelin toss, guys.
exactly,
That's
like a
and
miniature,
they used to be metal. They
yeah,
were metal. It was miniature like javelin toss.
yes, because they looked like skewers at the end. They were just these, and of course, children, we all figured out other ways to use these darts, which they also are called jarts.
It's the same way that cherry bomb quickly became not a thing, because you start thinking, I can toss these at my brother or cousin who has just angered me, who is across the lawn and ready to be speared by this lawn javelin. Exactly. Yeah. That's how kids work. That's how adults work.
Duh. So they proved super dangerous, and they were ultimately banned. They were, like we said, they were popular back in the 1980s, early 90s, and these weighted darts literally had metal spikes that ensured they would stick in the ground where they landed, hopefully in like a target coop placed on the ground. But they could be thrown with enough force to pierce someone's skull.
Yep.
And ultimately it was responsible for the death of, we do have a body count on here, of 3 kids and 6,000 related injuries. So 3 kids did die from these lawn darts.
It's not funny. Sorry.
No, it's not funny, but it's one of those things where, when you were laughing, like, all I had to do was throw this right at that mother stupid bitch's head and
right,
tell her and tell me I'm stupid.
It's like you gathered them all up and chased the younger ones around, going dance, like making them jump out of the way. If anybody's ever seen, if we've got any Florida State fans out there, when the Florida State Seminole rides onto the field and basically, throws that thing into the center of the field. Imagine if you could light a lawn dart on fire, though, and it was that epic. But that's basically it. You're just running around like the Florida State mascot, hurling lawn darts at each other. They were an amazing and a horrific game. What were we thinking?
Oh, we had fun. Now, okay, so the federal government, they actually banned the lawn darts at the end of 1988. So that's when we were being born and everything. But I still distinctively remember I remember those lawn darts. And
I remember growing up and we had horseshoe pits, because this is before cornhole, because horseshoes in and of themselves were also dangerous, guys. Get hit by a horseshoe sometime. It's not fun. And not that plastic cutesy stuff they have now, like old school, rusty, like game of horseshoes. And then the center of the horseshoe stakes were put in the center of the lawn dart circles. So I remember that like distinctly. Mm-hmm. Distinctly as a child. We had lawn darts forever.
Yeah. Okay, so next one. This one, okay, I hadn't heard of it before, probably because it was around the time that we were in that stage of going to like freshman year of college. So we weren't kids and we weren't having kids. So it was probably out of our radar, but it's something I could see both you getting into if you were young at the time, or even either one of our kids. And it's called the CSI Fingerprint Examination Kit. It's a toy that was based on the hit CBS show CSI Crime Scene Investigation. Now, apparently, this particular kit allowed children to look for fingerprints with like a special powder and sets of brushes. Okay. But by November 2007, the toys were actually trying to be like yanked off the shelves. But why? Why do you ask? Jessica?
I'm very curious to know. I'm gonna assume that they have something in them, but I don't know what because I haven't read this, so I'm about to be surprised.
Okay, so lab tests by a nonprofit watchdog, okay, had shown that the fingerprint dust in the kit contained asbestos.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Are you serious? This was 2007.
Yep. In fact, the powder in question turned out to contain up to 5% asbestos. Yay!
Yay! See, this is why if it's sad that it's taking coronavirus to scream at our kids 24/7, wash your hands. But this is why. So that you don't lick off the fingerprint dust and become a mesothelioma commercial. Oh my God, asbestos. 5% asbestos. God, it's not funny, but it is.
Okay, so the toys maker, it gets better. Of course it gets better. It's a body count if it doesn't get better. The toys maker, CBS Consumer Products, actually decided to leave it on the shelves in the run up to Christmas. The case ultimately caused a nationwide class action alleging not only that the toy had asbestos, but tremolite, one of the most lethal kinds.
Wait, Jesus. Like, could they not have popped some strychnine in there too? Was like arsenic not necessary for the setup of this? Like, oh my God.
Let's just say that the case was finally settled, triggering a recall in 2009. So it went from 2007 to 2009 before it was taken off the shelves.
Oh my God.
I just was like, wait, asbestos like the regular asbestos? Like the asbestos I know of. Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Oh my God, a CSI fingerprint kit. And it's a double market for Christmas with a doctor kit that contains real laudanum, kids. Like, oh my God.
It doesn't get any realer than this.
Live like Wild Bill. Here's your own, grow your own opium set. Like, oh my God.
Oh man, get there.
What in the F? It's the 2 years that gets me. I'm not losing money on this till the class action. Until we lose enough money in class actions, we're not taking it off the shelves.
Pretty much.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so up next
my
topic,
God.
and sorry I'm laughing on this because this one managed to cause a child to get their finger partially amputated. So
Oh
yikes.
my
God. By the way, there was I could not find any body count. I did not find anybody died from the CSI kit.
Well, no, because they're still developing the cancer. Give it another like 10 to 15 years. Holy shit.
Coming up on cases. You're very, very soon.
The pink sugar packets haven't done their work yet. So give it a little time on the fingerprint case. Don't worry. There will be. There will be. Oh my God.
So again, okay, so now we're moving on to one that literally the chopping block is. Oh my God. Okay, so yikes. Anyway, okay, so welcome to the world of an easy bake oven. Okay, so I personally never got to own one. I always did though. It was all the rage with the girls when I was growing up. I thought it was so cool that I could like bake cookies and brownies in the comfort of my own room. Clearly, my mother didn't think that was a good idea, and obviously,
I had one, but I could only use it on our kitchen counter under parental supervision. And it's not because my parents were like super Johnny on the spot, right? No, it's because they have OCD and they're like, you better not make a mess. You better not make a mess. I'm going to sit here right there and watch it. Plus, who knows what's in the mixes? I mean, it tastes like powdered asshole, basically. Anything you ate from it was just a doughy, floury chunk of asshole. That is what it tastes like.
I don't know, okay, because I never got to try it. I never got to have one. That was the one thing. Mom, I know you're listening to this. This Easy Bake Oven was always something I wanted. After reading this, though, not so much, but still back then that was it. I thought it was the coolest thing since sliced bread, and I wanted it, and I never got it. And there's a reason.
There's a reason. Let's get to that reason.
So what's crazy is that obviously in the research that I did do, obviously there's been different makes and models throughout the years since it's come out. It's changed and ultimately adapted to the modern times that it was in, right? But the crazy part about this was that Hasbro, okay. Hasbro, sorry, had to recall over 1 million Easy Bake Ovens, not once, but twice in the year 2007 alone. So I'm going off of the things that have happened very obviously in my time era versus there were obviously issues back then too. But this is also, I decided to do 2007 because, again, this is like, it's almost like, wait, shouldn't we figure this out by now? But this was after almost 200, so they didn't do any kind of recalling. They had to wait until after almost 250 reports of children burning their fingers or hands after getting caught in the miniature appliances. And so they were trying to get stuck. So, and the burns were as bad as second and third degree. Yeah, so I mean, like, it wasn't just like, ooh, ouch, on your hair straightener or the stove, you know what I mean? We're talking like,
oh my God,
getting stuck and then burning the shit out of it.
And then like burn unit times, not, oh my God, let me use my Silvadine from 10 years ago on little Johnny's finger here. No, it's like, well, little Johnny is going to have to lose a finger because you weren't watching little Johnny use this Easy Bake Oven.
Exactly. And, this did result in one child ended up having to have their finger partially amputated because of the severity of it.
God.
And talk about, trauma. And what's crazy is this iconic Hasbro toy you can still go into Walmart, Target, anywhere. I mean,
my child has asked for one for Christmas because we don't have cable. We stream everything. I was back in Texas, as everybody knows. So she was watching commercials probably for the first time in her life.
Yeah.
We have everything from like Hulu, Amazon. We stream everything in our house because I'm too impatient to DVR things.
Really, the only commercials you get are for other shows.
Exactly. So she'd never seen it, and it was an Easy Bake Oven commercial. So now she's got it in her head. But guess what just got crossed off of Santa's list, folks?
Well, okay, to be fair, they did release, like they always do, with a newer version with an electric heating element instead of a light bulb. I mean, at this point, showing kids how to actually bake is less dangerous. So, I mean, if she wants to get an Easy Bake, I would just be like, all right, you get cooking lessons with mommy in the kitchen.
Here, let's chop up this Pillsbury dough. Let's use a knife. If we're going to lose a finger, it's going to be the old-fashioned way.
Get some fun cookie cutters, a rolling pin, and some flour. Go to fucking town. Because at this point, I'm like, all right, if you want a fucking easy bake, I'll show you how to easy bake. Okay.
and that's it. Like, the end. I'll do the easy baking in this house. Thank you. Oh my God. Well, there's one scratched off the old listy list. Jesus, my kid's not going to be able to own a toy by the time we're done with this episode.
I know. That's where I finally went, and we'll get there. Okay, so the next one, we're gonna move on to the next one. Again, this is one I hadn't heard of. I mean, like I have, but not to this extent. It was actually it's Cabbage Patch Doll. Okay, but it's not your regular cabbage. I had a Cabbage Patch Doll growing up. In fact, I had several. They smelled like flowers. Did you ever have a Cabbage Patch Doll?
I did, and I'm waiting for it, but I had this one. You had like little vegetables, like little carrots and I had this exact one. It was a really big deal.
Oh, you did not have one.
I had to have had one because you fed it and it nom 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 and it fell out until like it's
reusable, it digests. Okay, it's called the Snack Time Cabbage Patch Doll.
Yeah.
Okay, that is just crazy, but here's the thing is that talk about the jaws of death. Well, kind of. I couldn't find anywhere that said that anybody did die, but this story definitely creeped me out. Okay. All right, so the Cabbage Patch Dolls obviously were the must-have toy of their time. Everybody knows that, sparking department store fights and pulling in billions of dollars in sales. But the Snack Time edition pulled in more than just money, however. Okay, the mechanical jaws tried to consume the fingers and hair of unlucky kids. So
I had one of these because now I want to say I remember I got it for Christmas, and it was one of those hard to get deals, like a holiday Barbie.
It was.
And I remember vaguely the news stories. I couldn't have been more than a first or second grader, I think, when these came out. Oh no, I had this toy, Bethany. Let's go on.
So what would happen is that the Snack Times mechanism was a one-way battery-powered roller with no off switch. Smart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's supposed to be activated only by the accompanying snacks that came with it. But of course, this Cabbage Patch mechanism is a robot, and it made no distinction between food and fingers. So it was designed with the rollers and suction power to make the food go down and be digested. So of course it can be reused. But this includes the plastic food. It would do it with pencils, wood, paper, anything that got close to it, including human fingers. Eventually, the dolls were pulled from the shelves, but of course not until after the Christmas season. And they came out, and it says they came out in 1996. So that sounds about right.
That would have been about right.
But I don't think by then I already had a Cabbage Patch Doll that looked like me. So I didn't want another Cabbage Patch Doll. That wasn't something that I wanted. But did you know, actually, I didn't put this in my notes, but maybe I should have. Let me see if I can find it. They actually say in some of the research that I found that if you go online and if you still have your Cabbage Patch flesh-eating doll, that's what I I think they were like giving some sort of refund on them or something along the lines of a refund, but that if you still had one, you could sell it on eBay or something like that for like $500. I was like, damn, for a flesh-eating toy?
For a flesh-eating toy. Well, they were a big, I remember all this now. Mine stopped working.
Well, that's a good thing.
Which is a good thing. Now I'm realizing very much. Now, see, we have to take a quick detour because Jessica just has to. Cabbage Patch Doll that ate. Now I have to know if my parents got me this death time.
Have you not seen a picture? You need to see a picture of it.
Yes. It had fries and carrots. I owned this little redheaded one right here at the beginning. Yes, I owned one of these. Oh my God.
Town. You could have lost fingers and had. I read stories about how apparently a kid's hair, like she was cuddling her Cabbage Patch doll, and her hair triggered the mouth and started sucking it down, and just like her hair, it was. Can you just? I would give up dolls forever. Like, and I still have a stuffed monkey that sits over. I don't sleep with it, but it's still part of my childhood.
Fun
So
look into Jessica's childhood. Not long after that, my dad let me watch Chucky for the first time, and I was sort of done with any kind of doll. And I remember that was probably the last doll I ever wanted, received, and I was like an insanely meticulous child. I wouldn't have cuddled it because I would have been worried that the mouth mechanism might have stopped working.
Oh.
See, I'm the kid that all toys were made for. Oh, little Jessica would never use this inappropriately.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
I was a actually asshole then, and I'm one now.
I was going to say, not much has changed. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next one. And this one obviously is before our time, but I found it very interesting. But I think that you and I can both agree that any science-based toys are still a win in our eyes, even today. Like anytime a kid wants to get some sort of science kit, we're like #win. Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't want a piece of crap plastic toy. They want to, build something or cool, awesome. I know that my kids, I know that I would love it if my kids were more interested in that than watching other kids play video games on YouTube. But here we are. So
may rot their brain, but they're not losing fingers. Just saying.
and they apparently aren't being in contact with, glowing types of dangerous substances, which brings us to our next toy.
Oh, God.
So this is actually something that makes me laugh when I think of what Stewie Griffin on Family Guy used to say about, oh, is uranium not like at your local drugstores? Because the Gilbert
Okay.
38 Atomic Energy Lab. This is from the inventor of the Erector set. It actually contained 4 types of uranium ore sample.
Oh my God.
And a pre-formatted order form so that you could get more. I now get the joke on Family Guy. I just do. I get it now because he's always like, wait, is uranium
my God. They literally had yellow cake uranium in a fucking warehouse to ship out to atomic age children. I love it.
Apparently in the early 1950s, apparently no one found it odd to put uranium in a child's toy. But hey,
to be fair, Bethany, the United States government had not yet found it odd to test atomic bombs on the mainland. So, what's a fun with plutonium, fun with uranium, like whatever you got to do. Eat it, kids. It's fun.
I get it now. Like I do. But so this particular kit implored children to perform, quote, over 150 exciting experiments with a Geiger
counter. Geiger.
A cloud chamber, and and a spinthariscope. Am I saying? I'm probably not.
It's close enough. It's close enough. Just go. Oh my God, I can't. A fucking cloud show. Oh. Yep. The sad thing is I really want this, but I want to put on a lead apron and take it way out in the fields and play with it once and then, bury it in a lead line box. Oh my God.
because this thing was actually quoted as the most elaborate atomic energy educational set ever produced, which I would guess so, since it actually had the real deal in there.
Well, I mean, until the 80s when kids were playing with dirt around Pripyat and Chernobyl. So,
So, but
this was looking ahead. We were ahead of the Soviets on all fronts, apparently, folks. God. Oh my God.
But even in an age when science sets routinely, this is even when like these particulars back then when science sets came out, they came with substances like potassium nitrate.
Yeah, no, yeah.
The component
They came with the real deal shit.
and sodium ferrocinide. I'm probably saying that wrong, which apparently is classified as poison nowadays. So, the Atomic Energy Lab was basically glowing with danger.
Can you imagine like the turning off the light at a Woolworths at night and then there's just this one like shelf in the toy aisle that glows?
Look, Mom, a natural nightlight.
It turns out my fish wasn't bioluminescent. Who knew? Oh my God. I just gave it a little uranium, little yellow cake uranium. It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal at all. And of course, there is very little to say if there was a body count, which there probably was several years later, but it does go to show just how far toys and their regulations have come. So
don't worry, that's way beyond the atomic body count that is in the United States. Trust me, I'm working on that exact episode anyway. So a few kids licking some yellow paint uranium. It's fine because the house was painted with lead-based paint. So and the ceiling was asbestos. So you know what? That's probably the least lethal thing that they were licking off the walls in the 1950s. Oh my God, this is amazing. Bethany, you've just made my whole weekday life. I want one of these. If anybody knows if they still exist, let me know.
You want a Gilbert Atomic Energy Lab set?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
With matching centrifuge and kidnapped Nazi scientist.
Amen.
I want the whole thing. I want the Werner Braun. It's the Werner von Braun experience. All of it or nothing.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna move on.
God.
I'm moving on. But what's crazy is I'm developing a realization that the one that we're talking about next also was recalled, or it was very popular and realized in 2007. I'm realizing 2007 was the year apparently that everybody was like, oh my God, some of these toys are bad. But apparently this is called aqua dots.
Do you not remember seeing this on the news?
Yes. And
okay.
It took me a second because again, 2007, we're in our sophomore year, going into our sophomore year of college. Finishing up freshman year, sophomore year of college. So again, this isn't something that I would have owned myself or my kid because again, it was during a time frame, but I do remember it being an issue.
It on the news a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you don't, I'm going to explain it to you. They were small, colorful beads that could be arranged into different designs, then permanently set with a sprinkle of water. Okay, the water activated a glue in the coating of the beads, which then fused them together. Sounds simple, easy, festive, decorative, a great idea. You could make sounds like literally a project with wine. That could be a wine Wednesday project. Let's do aqua beads and drink wine. Sounds fun. Okay. But here's the problem. Okay. Reports started to surface almost immediately of children vomiting and lapsing into comas. Of course, swallowing the beads. Now, okay, the kids shouldn't do that, but I remember what it was like to have a small child. You could do everything you possibly can, but if you have something small laying around, they're like, ooh, fun. dirt.
You can look away for even a second.
Yeah.
Even
so
a
I'm
second.
not gonna even attempt to say anything against parents or kids or anything like that. It's just the way it works. Small kids see something little, it goes in their mouth.
It's in their mouth. That's how they experience the world.
Yeah. So the problem was actually a version of this is called, I think it was by Spin Masters Aquadots is what it was. And what was discovered by scientists that the glue that, fusing the beads together, that was coated or whatever, it actually contained chemicals that metabolized into gamma hydroxybutyrate. Otherwise,
Hydroxybutyrate.
yeah, sorry.
GHB. Oh my God.
Rape drug. So,
oh my God.
okay. Yeah, so I'm so glad you're laughing at this.
Oh my God, it's not funny.
It's not funny, but it's one of those things where you're like, are you fucking kidding me?
In 2007, we were roofing our children with aquadots.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, so the toys makers, Canadian-based Spin Master and Australian-based Moose Enterprises blamed Chinese of course. The Moose Enterprises blamed Chinese subcontractors. Of course they did. But this was all, of course, before eventually agreeing to recall all 4.2 million Aquadot kits. This was, of course, after the fact that 3 children went into a coma after swallowing the toxic pieces. So, yeah. But then, of course, the following year, Spin Master rebranded Aquadots as Pixos, and they remain on the shelves to this day.
Jeez, sweet Jesus. God in heaven. Like, oh, Mary, Mother of God. Like,
oh, God. I have talked
about human beings eating other human beings for fun on this show. And this is the first time I was momentarily rendered speechless.
Yep.
Oh my God. This is not funny, but this is amazing.
It's like, you really think of the legitimacy of what I just said. You said it the best. We were date raping our children in 2007. Like,
and are still date raping them today, just like, in the arts and crafts aisle versus the toy aisle. God almighty.
Sorry, I was not ready.
Oh my God. This is it. This is the moment that I'm just like, what is wrong with us as a nation? This is it. Like, oh my God.
Now you're like, well, shit, anything I pick up and give to my kid, do I need to do deep dive archive research to find out if it's got asbestos or fucking date rape drug? Like, what the hell? Or did it eat?
Sorry, honey. You can't make this date rape bead necklace. Go ahead and give mommy back your date rape beads. Like, what in the hell?
We can make this necklace. You just have to promise mommy you don't put it in your mouth.
Which is never going to happen. So you can't make this necklace.
Yes. Oh, God. Okay, so I'm moving on because the next toy is actually, even though it's on this list, even though there's no reports of deaths, okay, but it's mainly because I own this particular toy.
Oh, good. You own one now. Here we go.
And I can actually remember hurting myself with it. So
I just read what it was, and me too. Horrible scratched cornea.
Yep. It's called a Sky Dancer. Okay, so if you don't know what these are, they were sold back in the late 90s. They were hard plastic dolls with wing-covered arms that sat in a molded base. And these adorable flying fairies act more menacing than they look because you just pull the cord on the launcher and the princess dolls or fairies, whatever, spins up into the air.
And let me go ahead and stop you right there. I don't know if they were made out of like FAA grade aircraft aluminum. First off, you could achieve 30 foot in the air, like the really early 90s models. And if they could definitely hit a high line wire.
Yeah. Like if you took it out and you made sure you had enough room and you gave it the good old fashioned pull. You know, you had that thing could shoot up, man, and fly. It was the coolest shit ever. It was before drones were a thing. Okay, this is before drones.
And guys, you had to learn to do it real easy for in the house, so it only went up to the ceiling, right, and would drop down. There was a level, but if you really ripped that thing, you could very easily severely injure yourself.
Well, and that was the problem. Okay, and like you said, yes, it might launch 30 feet in the air, but it can also launch itself right into kids' faces. And that's exactly what happened. The toy manufacturer Globe, whatever, I don't know.
Globe.
Whatever.
Globe.
Thank you. Received reports of eye injuries, broken teeth, serious scratch
corneas,
facial lacerations, and even a broken rib and a mild concussion. And actually, I don't doubt that. Honestly,
I don't either. I don't. Not for a second.
The broken rib is probably not from the actual sky dancer. It was probably trying to get away from the sky dancer. So we're calling the broken rib a result. It's just. It is.
It's, you know, you got to break a rib to avoid an eye injury sometimes, you know?
Yeah. So these flying slicers. See what I did there?
Yeah, I saw it.
So these flying slicers were actually recalled in 2000, grounding almost 9 million for good. And, you know, now I didn't get that hurt, you know, but all it took was one swipe to the face and I was kind of done. I was like, and I'm done with you.
We all of the girls on my mom's side of the family got some for Christmas in the 90s, and there were eye injuries and all kinds of shit that occurred afterward. And just running away, little boys, like toddlers, running away from, you know, older girls, launching these at them. And again, I don't know, made of some kind of aircraft grade aluminum, but I cannot tell you how bad they hurt too, guys. Like, it's stupid. I had I remember this.
Yeah, I had one. And I remember actually going over to the Lewises. It was a family friend. They had several daughters, and they had, you know, a lot more girl toys than my sister, just, you know, 2 of us versus 4 girls. So I remember even getting a chance to, you know, play with what they had. And man, we couldn't get, my parents were upstairs playing cards. And hell, if we had to interrupt them, I remember getting sliced across the face. Thought I took my freaking eye out.
You'll shoot your eye out like that. But it's so funny that we laugh at that. But then also our parents were like, yeah, here you go. Have fun.
Yeah. They're the ones
playing cards. Leave me alone. Oh my God. I remember these. This is memory lane time.
Okay. So, next, I know it's crazy the fact that we both have experienced the issues from the sky dancers. I love the fact that, I mean, you know, the Barbie, they came out with knockoffs, you know, after
right.
And everything, but nothing really shot up and really tore up a cornea.
You know, nothing that could really take your face off with $3,000 drone intensity, all for the low cost of just $14.99.
$14.99. Okay, so moving on, because we do have other toys to get to that are definitely. Okay, So the next toy that comes onto this list, Bethany's death toy list, the highlight reel, is called Magnetics, and it's the Magnetics building set. Okay, so this is another toy that kind of gets all of us parents excited because once again, building sets with powerful magnets, they're always a good way to amp up a child's creativity, and it's just cool. It really is. A child can be in awe of two magnets working the scientific way that they do. So, but however, these particular sets featured plastic pieces that could break open, and it would spill small little powerful magnets. And of course, once again,
shit.
talking about kids,
Oh, shit.
they're going to put it in their mouth, right? It's inevitable. It's just, again, like we said, there's no stopping. So the problem is that these were easily swallowed by these curious toddlers, and unlike most small objects swallowed in this manner, the magnets don't pass through. You poop out magnets. In fact, if you get multiple, they start to connect with each other, and they will connect to each other through tissue walls.
Yay! Oh, God.
Sometimes forming large masses that twist intestines and cut off blood supply to, vital organs. So,
oh my God.
and obviously the result, it can be a painful death within just hours, like of swallowing these tiny magnets.
And you don't want to put little Johnny in an MRI machine full of magnets.
Well, it's funny you call it Johnny because in 2005,
oh no,
almost 2-year-old named Kenny Sweet, died after 9 tiny magnets reattached inside his mouth. Yeah. And of course, the manufacturer, Megablocks, released a statement saying it had, quote, no record of knowledge of a similar occurrence involving this toy, but the lie detector test, and that was a lie.
Oh.
I mean, God. In fact, the company had received several complaints of magnets falling out of the plastic pieces and knew of at least one case in which a 10-year-old had suffered life-threatening intestinal injuries. Now, the 10-year-old makes me question, because I'm like, wait, the 10-year-old put what in his mouth?
His mouth?
I have 3 9-year-olds. I'm like, wait, what?
But that it would never occur to them to swallow tiny magnetic beads. But,
it could have been a dare. It could have been a funny thing. It could have been a joke. Oh, I'm just going to poop it. Who knows? With 10-year-old boys, honestly, I don't know.
I never use boys will be boys, but in this case, I think it's appropriate.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. But so 3, and what's crazy is that even after Kenny died, 3 million magnetic sets sat on the store shelves for 4 months. And this is after his death. They didn't even pull it. In fact, they waited until almost 2006, so a year later before they finally recalled, and by then, at least 34 more children were known to have been injured. So
my God.
Leave it out there. They knew about more reports prior to this death, and they didn't do anything about it. Allowing kids and people can be like, well, what about the parents? Why don't they read the news? Well, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe they didn't see it, but still,
or maybe they're latchkey kids and they're going home. Like both parents are working. This was before. Most people can't afford to be tiger and helicopter moms in this country, more or less. Then, especially
2006. That's my senior year of high school. That was the year I graduated high school, going into freshman college year of college. I know I'm putting my age out there, but it's still one of those things where it's like, even if I was like a 12-year-old kid during that time, There's cell phones were still just becoming a thing. There were still pay phones. I remember there were still pay phones accessible somewhere.
It was one of those things that there's a reason that Loves used to have live and learn, then get loves being their whole slogan, because literally until, this helicopter parent existence, that was kind of the way that growing up was. And it's harder for younger people to understand that. And not that we're old by any means, but we're on that generational line of like, you live and you learn, kids will be kids. Oh, you broke your ankle on the trampoline? I told you not to double bounce. Let's go to the ER.
Yeah, if somebody's going to bounce, do not double bounce it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, it's a bad idea.
Oh, your bone's sticking out. Let me call the ambulance. This is what I meant. You're not ever going to do it again, are you?
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get that. The Tiger Mom thing was not a thing that was like what parents did.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
What's interesting about this whole thing, and Mega Bloks actually rebranded the toy Magnex. Okay, and they waited until 2008. Okay, so woohoo, 2 years. But what's crazy is that actually something in this lines with magnets falls. I discovered I could list toy after toy after toy. It happened with Polly Pocket, actually. She had her clothes and her little accessories. That you just got close and they just snapped
popped
on.
right on.
Right. Well, the problem is again, we're coming up to this thing where like, don't put it in your mouth, don't put it in your mouth. Well, yeah, I can tell my kid over and over and watch them like a hawk, but even as I'm staring at them, they're going to literally look at me
and put it in their mouth.
Put it in their mouth. Like, it's just the inevitable. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's just a thing. And it was Polly Pockets. And actually, the most recent thing, whatever, but all the claims and research is called Bucky Balls. Apparently, that's a recent toy to be recalled for the same thing, that little magnets were kind of popping out, and because it was tiny, it was, even if it's a shoe, it's a little tiny plant, looks like a little cute little shoe. Yeah, of course I'm gonna pop that shit in my mouth. And I'm not as an adult, but I'm just saying, like, it's a
kid thing. I will tell you, I did further cartilage damage to my nose at Cape Canaveral when I was 19, because I had a magnetic set, and I put them on either side of my nose and was walking around Cape Canaveral because I was 19, coming off of like a Florida drunk, and playing with magnets on my nose to get a laugh out of my dumb friends, so that's at 19. So I can 110% see a 6-year-old kid popping a magnetic shoe into their mouth. We're idiots. We're humans.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was also something that was in the research, that not a lot, but that was there, of, kids, preteens, young adults using magnets as piercings. And the problem is that without knowing, or without really realizing, they've inhaled or swallowed these magnets. And again,
do you remember when your parents back in the day, guys, when you couldn't get a nose piercing in junior high and you went to Claire's Girls and bought those little magnetic set deals, huff one of those right up the nose, see what happens. Thank God that didn't happen to me, but I've heard of that. It's not.
And it's not something you can just go to the bathroom and poop out. It's not an earring you accidentally swallowed. It's not, even that, that's not something that can just pass. It's gonna stay there.
It's gonna stay there.
It's gonna cause. But anyway, moving on from magnets. I mean,
I miss America being awesome. Let's go on. Oh, God.
Regardless, long story short, magnets are in a lot of toys. Be careful. Okay, so up next is the one that actually is still sold in stores and is only dangerous to people like you and me. That's right. Everybody, for once, the recommended age on the box is actually for your own safety. The famous slip and death. I mean, slip and slide.
I've had my most recent slip and slide injury just 2 years ago. So I can, yeah.
There's a reason. Okay.
They're just so fun.
I know. Okay, so these have been around since 1961, and more than 30 million of these have been sold. Uh, and if you don't know what a slip and slide is, I'm very sorry for you, but I'll describe it. It's a 16-foot sheet of plastic with an inflatable, quote, stop at the end. Okay. There's small holes running the length of the sides, and so that when a garden hose is attached, water spouts through the holes, making the plastic slide. Okay, the player that the person having fun then slides down the wet sheet on their stomach, enjoying countless hours of cool fun on a hot summer day. But I'll remind you again that this particular fun is only meant for young kids. In 1990,
they ain't lying.
In 1993, the Consumer Product Safety Commission issued a warning. This is in 1993, Jessica. Okay.
At the time, they were issuing it to my parents, who were doing the same thing on my slip and slide.
Right. Okay. And I will get to that actually. Issued a warning about slip and slide usage by teenagers and adults. Turns out the slide wasn't long enough for our fat ass to accommodate our size and weight again, because of fucking grown ass people. We should not be doing.
We shouldn't be setting our cocktails down and going, wait a minute. Let mommy have a go.
This so-called stop at the end, in some cases, resulted in permanent spinal damage. Again, I don't know why I said that sentence while laughing, but damn it. Oh my God. The warning was actually issued when one teenager and 7 adults had become paralyzed or received neck injuries after playing on it. Hey, everybody. There's a reason why it was market brought back in the 2000s with a very strong warning that it was for ages 5 to 12. That's it. That's not for recommendation. That is for your safety.
They're not just being Debbie Downers, and I can tell you that firsthand, because if your ass doesn't launch completely off the end of it as an adult, you are going to have a neck injury. Either way, just don't do it.
I don't care if you're 5'1" and you weigh 100 pounds. There's a reason why it's meant for 5 to 12. And 12 is kind of a loose, it's pushing it. It depends on what kind of 12-year-old you are. Okay, again, size and weight doesn't matter.
On the early 2000s, y'all, Dane Cook had an entire career based on a joke about a slip and slide, so like live and learn. There you go.
Oh my God. And I'm only giving a hard time because technically I never got to partake in a slip and slide. I know.
That's so tragic.
It is. I never got the chance, and by the time I did, I was too old, and I didn't want to flop on my belly sliding. I didn't want to do it. I was like, why? That sounds really shitty. What if that hurts? So,
well, like I said, couple drinks in, that's not your first thought.
So,
you're just thinking, boy, they're having fun. I bet it'll work for me.
Where was my fun? So the next toy my list is actually one that surprised me. Okay. And I was so surprised that I actually told my children about this toy because they own this toy. And it's called slap bracelets.
What?
Yes.
I'm here for this. Go on.
Slap bracelets have officially made the list. And obviously you remember them because they were all the rage and fashion in the 90s. Hello.
Yeah.
So many different
Yeah.
ones. I mean, even my kids got them out of the toy treasure box at the dentist's office. Okay, so
Exactly.
I mean, slap bracelets are all the rage. But okay, however, there were bans enforced by schools after the sharp metal inside the bracelet started cutting kids.
It's not funny.
No. But of course, the slap bracelets never quite went away. They never actually completely cleaned up their safety act because in 2012, Toys Smith recalled a large batch because the metal was wearing through the fabric, exposing sharp edges that cut at least 8 kids. I know it's not much, but it's 8 kids still. Okay. And actually, even more recent, Studio Fun, which is the name of the whatever the factory.
Yeah, right.
They recalled thousands more troll themed slap bracelets in 2017 for the same reason. I mean, there weren't any known deaths. There's no deaths on this toy, okay? So slap bracelets didn't kill anybody, okay? But what the fuck? My kids have slap bracelets on their bookshelf in their room right now. In fact, I repeatedly like going in their room, getting their slap bracelet like pop on myself.
Papa on myself.
It's
Yeah.
just it's a odd feeling to unroll it and it goes click and then you go swap and it just but
It's like putting your childhood back on.
yes, but apparently I am at risk of cutting myself.
I think this one is just like outside of the uranium. And maybe, this is just like Americans, we can ruin anything by not using it safely.
Again, I just want to remind everybody that's listening, this is my highlight reel. Okay. These are the ones that I was like, after writing down a numerous amount of toys that apparently can be dangerous. I was like, okay, let's stop before my kids' room with the trash bag and leave their room with nothing. But
no more fun. No more fun for you.
Not even arts and crafts at this point.
No, because you'll be doing GHB.
What's that, Mommy?
No wonder there's an opioid problem in America. We were doing GHB as children. So, what's a little Valium, kids?
Mommy, don't you like my star necklace? Tastes good too.
Just roofied myself and Jennifer over here.
Best friends now. She has choice.
We're going to roofie ourselves and watch Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I hated that show.
Love that show. Oh, God. What's next?
Okay, so next is actually something that I love this description. It can be best described from, like that scene in the movies when an unsuspecting person steps on like a camouflaged cargo net and it like hoists them up into the air and it's like a trap, Okay,
Yeah.
Someone decided to take that and market them as mini hammocks for kids.
Okay.
Yay! Okay,
And those are what we call holdovers from Vietnam. The United States government really needed to get rid of some netting. There was no use in the Gulf War. So let's make kids hammocks.
It's funny, but
It's fairly true.
okay, so I know that everybody's at least seen a hammock or laid in one as an adult, but these were vastly different. These hammocks didn't have the features, the spreader bars, okay, to keep them open. All right. So
Oh God.
this resulted in this mess of twisting and turning every time a kid tried to get in or out. So I'm sorry, I'm laughing because it's uncomfortable because I can literally picture this happening. But this caused a risk for strangulation, which ended up happening. We do have a body count on the mini hammocks, everyone. 10 different manufacturers eventually had to recall over 3 million mini hammocks. Of course, after at least 12 children had died between, now this is a good amount, between 1984 and 1995. Many more were injured, 12 between that time. People were like, oh, statistically, but regardless, we're still talking about dead kids here. Doesn't matter.
Well, because you may let them go out in the backyard and check every 30 minutes, not thinking they're gonna be
exactly
Korean by their own mini hammock.
Korean. Oh man. Oh gosh. But
I meant that as the Korean War, but it was a throwback joke to the unused military nets, folks.
No, I got that.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
it's not funny.
It's not.
Oh my God.
And somebody might be like, well, 12 kids in like 11 years, blah blah. It's still 12 kids too many on a simple
for a toy. That's 12 too many.
Yes, agreed. There's a difference between walking out and like a kid drowning, in a lake. There's a difference between a kid getting shot. They didn't buy this kid for their birthday a mini hammock to go lay out in the sun just to get strangled.
Oh my God.
There's that.
The new Viet Cong toy. Okay, going on before I say anything else offensive. Let's get to the next offensive thing.
Yes. Okay, so what's crazy about this next one that's on my highlight reel is technically we weren't, the way I found, or the information I found, technically we weren't born when this toy came out, but do you remember creepy crawlers? You could like make your own bugs.
They made a revival set in the 80s that were safe.
Okay,
but it's different. But yes, everybody knows what creepy crawlers are, I think.
Okay, because what I was reading on, I was like, wait, I know about I actually, my sister wanted it, but I didn't, obviously, because I was like, ew, bugs. But I remember seeing the commercial or whatever, but this particular one, it was actually sold in 1964. Okay, so the idea was the same as when they remade it, but it was to let kids mold their own spiders and bugs out of plastic. The plastic goop itself was a consistency of syrup. They didn't really go into specific details, but it was considered syrup. That's why I remember some of the commercials showed them pretending to eat it or actually eating them.
It was a revival set of this toy idea. I have an uncle that has a creepy crawlers burn.
Okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so then with this syrup, they then added an electric-powered mold that heats up to about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Sounds right. It sounds fun. Yes. Okay, cool.
Yes, sure.
The only problem is that what was in the syrup, it didn't go into details, but it was potentially toxic, and was with the mixture of the heating up, was actually creating deadly fumes. Oh, and not to mention kids were burning their fingers on the sizzling hot plates as well.
Right. But that's not as dangerous as breathing in all the carcinogens from melting plastic. You know, the reason that people have to have masks in factories. What fun.
But yet you could own home and let your child breathe fumes day in and day out.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes. So, now, again, honestly, this list, we could go on for hours on. That's what I found with digging up that you've got hoverboards and fidget spinners even, and scooters, and there was even a Hannah Montana pop star game that apparently had arsenic in it. So, I mean, the list really does go on and on. We could talk about inflatable baby toys. Do not get me started on inflatables for
babe. Yes.
For baby.
Oh God.
Do not get me started on that. I didn't even put that really into my research because I don't have to. I myself, anytime I put my son or a kid in a pool floaty or any kind of sort of thing, my hands were constantly on that child, and that's
Yep.
and so things will break. It's just inevitable. But I thought I would close out this list with the one toy that I will say, with every website, with all the research I did, brought me to what is arguably the most dangerous and deadliest toys out there, and that would be a toy gun. Yes.
Shocker.
Yes. So you have you can put an eye out with that thing, BB guns and Nerf guns, but whatever you want to call it, it still says gun. Okay. And we all know that, and we can both agree, and that now the dangers go beyond just a black eye or a welt
or picking airsofts and BBs out of your skin, which again, I grew up in Texas, y'all.
Yeah. So we all know that there have been numerous cases, and I won't go into the different cases, that a toy gun was mistaken for a real gun. And that resulted in AKA self-defense and or, tragedy, murder. Well, it plain and simple. Whether BB guns, airsoft, paint guns, or simple toys, imitation firearms can turn play straight into a police matter. So the U.S. federal law since 1989 has required most toy guns to be outfitted with like a bright orange tip on the muzzle, or have a brightly colored body, like most Nerf guns are bright colors, But the problem is that not all toy guns have a distinct mark to show that they aren't real. And to be quite frank, in the line of fire, in the heat of the moment, if you see something, your first instinct isn't going to be like, oh, does that have an orange bottom or
an orange? Is it neon green? They still make real ones that are neon green, folks.
Which I can't say anything because obviously my own children have Nerf guns.
Well, yeah, but still, don't point them at anybody. Don't, just for God's sakes, common sense, folks. Common sense.
Guns, and somebody gets shot in the face. I'm like, did you point? Don't point it at their face. But
it gets real deal in our house if there's if there's guns pointed at any person, animal, anything.
Yes. Doesn't matter even if you're pretending. I shoot you, bang bang. No, we don't even do pretend.
We don't even do pretend. Yeah.
There's
a reason.
There is a huge reason, and this we're not even in. I mean, this has been. The fact that it was in 1989, okay, right as we were born, we have always understood that toy guns, and again, like I said, I'm not going to go into the countless number of cases that have been reported that they had a fake or a toy gun that was perceived as a real one. And of course, self-defense, it's one
Exactly. It's just
it's just
don't do it.
yeah,
Don't buy your kid a BB gun and then ever let the kid use it unattended. You're out of your mind. And I mean that in the best possible way. But you're
and
out of your freaking mind.
even Nerf guns at this, I mean, even Nerf guns, everything really there's yes, they have a recommended age level like we talked about with the slip and slide, but in all seriousness, there's a reason why we talk about things. Read up on what you're getting your child. Read up on why is this meant for, I don't know, a 12-year-old and my kid is 6. There's a reason. And it's up to us as parents, it's up to us as people to make the right decisions. I'm not saying that we're perfect. God knows that we are
not.
But what I've personally discovered is that during this is that for some reason, even though I thought this would be fun and have a laugh, it's just like maybe it's common sense. But then I also started finding myself just starting to question like, what's in my kids' room right now? I mean, they're 9 years old and they know better to an extent to not, obviously not to put small things in their mouth and but this goes beyond that. Some of these
It's been a big difference because I was such a meticulously careful child that all of my toys were in great shape, no matter what age I owned them. So my mother saved a lot of them. And so she's brought them out over the years for my kid. And I look at some of them and I said, absolutely not. Absolutely.
yeah.
Can she not play with that? She is just now old enough to play with some of those Polly Pockets in my mind because they will put it in their mouth and they will swallow it.
Yes, and the thing is even these same toys that we talked about and they've just been remanded, they're still on the shelves. And others out there are just waiting to take our children as victims. Now, I'm not saying, ooh, don't let your kids play with anything because it could kill them, but maybe not, leave your kid, hey, here's a BB gun, go have fun. Do your homework. I mean, again, I'm not saying I'm.
Don't get a supercharged Nerf gun, give it to your 10-year-olds and send them outside with your toddler. Okay? Just don't.
Or just out upon the neighborhood in general. My poor elderly neighbor probably would.
Okay, but here's the thing. We're living in a pandemic because we don't want to use common sense. And that's just washing your hands, folks. So think about the toys that exist. And again, don't buy a 10-year-old a wood burning kit that heats up to 5,000 degrees because they're going to get annoyed and because they're kids. They're kids.
Yes, and not to mention the same thing, play mode. When my children are in play mode, you got to pull them back to reality. And
children are tiny. They're tiny sociopaths, man. We got to get them in line.
They do not like being pulled back into the real world. I have had fits and outbursts because how dare you interrupt my playtime? So when kids are in that moment, they're not thinking, oh my God, my mommy gave this to me. This can't be dangerous. It's just,
parent's perfect, but let's all keep a weather eye on the storm. This is some of that common sense in life that also works for me as an adult. Slip and slide injury 2 years ago. Duh. Shouldn't be getting on a slip and slide. I'm in my 30s. I'm old. Duh. Take a dose of vitamin duh.
But and that's it. That's Bethany's highlighted death toy reel. You're welcome.
I'm a real big fan, and as always, we're past the 4th, but if you're listening this, next 4th, guys, fireworks, common sense, so many burns could be avoided.
But yes, okay. Anyway, that's it. Yeah, so go check us out on Patreon. If you want to actually watch us record other episodes and stuff, you can look it up. It is patreon.com //
/ body count.
/body count. Sorry. We posted that free there. So yeah, you can hear us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just search body count or listen to us at our website at bodycounthistorypod.com. Do us a favor and just tell, one person. Like, hey, do you listen to podcasts? Me too. You should check out Body Count. They're cool as shit. Or don't say cool as shit. Just whatever, say something nice. But if you love the show, okay, just
Tell one person.
one person. That's
Spread
it.
the news.
Yes, spread the news.
Start spreading the news.
Okay, you can grab our merchandise at bigheadsmedia.com. Click the history tab, and we are actually right there, first thing you see. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BodyCountPod. We post on this day in history, body count, almost daily, sorry, and drop 3, or 4 fun little body counts just to keep you, fresh on both platforms daily. So be sure to follow us for news there and additional little tidbits. Jessica, where can people find you?
People can find me at Jessica, JESSICAB, as in boy, B, Manor, MANOR, house, not the behavior, at Jessica B. Manor on Twitter and Instagram.
Perfect. And you can find me on Twitter at Bethany Skelton 5, the number 5, and on Instagram at Bethany RN24. And that's it.
That's it, guys. We just had fun this week.
Yeah.
And boy, did we have fun. Go out and buy your kids some yellow cake uranium and a centrifuge.
Yeah, no, I'm going in to my kids' room right now with the trash bag, and I'm going to get rid of anything that's potentially dangerous, which is practically anything, apparently. So,
and just buy them an adult hammock.
Stare at the wall. That's it.
Stare at the wall. Stare at the wall and use the power of imagination. Read books. This is all you may have, but they all have soft corners.
Even books can be dangerous.
Exactly. I've been walloped with many a book in my life.
Oh, anyway, y'all. Okay. Well, that's it. We're leaving. We love y'all.
As always, tune in next week. We'll do our thing again. Bye.